But Jay White has to face the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, because he's the ace. So you may be asking yourself, what happens to John Cena when he goes to sleep? Well, when he goes to sleep, he goes to Japan and becomes Hiroshi Tanahashi. And vice versa, when Hiroshi Tanahashi goes to sleep, he goes to America and becomes John Cena. They're the same person. You've never seen them in the same area. So Hiroshi Tanahashi is the ace of New Japan. It's not a nickname. It is him. He is the person that carried the company on its back in its darkest ages, put on the best matches possible, is one of the best characters. Is he a little bit cheesy? Yeah, he kind of plays with air guitar that's invisible and throws into the crowd every so often. But he is who he is, just in the same way of that John Cena is who he is. It's just who he is. Good vibes and good energy is what Tanahashi preaches. He's just the top guy. He really is the top guy. Right now, he's old. He's up there. I think he's 48, and he's riddled with injuries. He has a really busted up knee, is what he's been nursing since the G1, and he's got a recently messed up shoulder. But he's the ace. You can never count him out. So I believe he's at the Tokyo Dome. He might put over Jay White, but I believe Tanahashi will beat Jay White and retain the title. But he will drop it the next night at New Year's Dash. So now on to the co-main event. I'm pretty sure all of us Americans have heard of it. I'm pretty sure all of anybody in the world have heard of it, because it is for the IWGP United States Championship, held by the champion Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. Y'all know who Chris Jericho is. We all know who Chris Jericho is. He's the Ayatollah of rock and roll. He is the best in the world at what he does. He is the alpha to Kenny's Omega. He is Chris Jericho. He's everything. He's a rock star. He's a TV star. He's a movie star. He's a actor, as I said, because of those other two things that I just said. He is a highly acclaimed WWE wrestler. He's a highly acclaimed WCW wrestler. He's a moderately acclaimed ECW wrestler. He wrestled for Mexico, I think, for CMLL or AAA or both. He wrestled in New Japan years ago, and he came back most recently to face the current IWGP United States Champion in the form of Kenny Omega. Jericho, you can never sleep on. He is one of the best. He has honed his craft to a whole different level than what people have heard of. And while he's not as fast and as crisp as he used to be, he's still Jericho. And he will always produce a 4+ star match possible. But, as I said, you can't sleep on Jericho. You can't even blink against his opponent, Kenny Omega. In life, there are special moments where certain wrestlers come, like, into the world. There are your John Cena's, your The Rock's, your Stone Cold Steve Austin's, your Bret Hart, your Daniel Bryan's, your CM Punk's, your Edge even, Batista. Kenny Omega falls into that block. And it ain't an over-exaggeration. It ain't a joke. It ain't nothing to sleep on. Kenny Omega has to be one of the, if not the top wrestler in the world. The only two people that can contend with him for that title right now is AJ Styles and Kazuchika Okada. Kenny Omega, not because of Dave Meltzer. This is my own opinion from watching his matches from 2016 when he went to the heavyweight division, to 2017 when he challenged for the IWGP title at Wrestle Kingdom 11, to becoming the new United States champion. You are guaranteed a top tier match with that man. You are guaranteed the best work rate and the best wrestling you have ever seen when this man steps in between those three ropes and in that 4 squared ring. He is one of the best. No one can say otherwise. You can say he's overrated if you like. You can say that he ain't all that hype. You can say that he is ruining the business or that he is a bad wrestler. But you are lying to yourself because he is that good. I have watched wrestling since I was 7 years old. And there is only one Kenny Omega. He is like no one else. His whole character is really wacky in that he's the cleaner. So he's like a hitman for the Bullet Club, but now he's the leader because he technically hitman / took out the previous leader before him, which was AJ Styles. Either way, the man, he's like a cartoon villain-ish. Like, literally, he has the finisher called the One-Winged Angel, which is based off of a Final Fantasy villain, Sephiroth, who ain't no joke. Either way, super hard. If you don't kill him in enough time, he throws a meteor on you. Who throws a meteor on you? A person who wants to win. And that is what Kenny Omega is. This match is groundbreaking because Jericho literally hasn't worked in the company for years. He is a WWE guy. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that he is very good friends with Vince McMahon. Everyone knows that he has done everything back, forth, up and down to WWE. He is for WWE. His name has so much weight and gravitas behind it. And this match against Kenny Omega in a different, complete company, televised to the world, is earth-shattering, groundbreaking, everything. It is ridiculous. That's something that I would have never, ever thought of. It's like literally picking up Randy Orton and throwing him in progress. Which we're not that far from happening. I think this match is in the air because Kenny Omega is the inaugural first champion. He's held it since he won it at the G1 special in the United States of America. He's touted multiple times that he wants to bring the title back here and make a whole new branch of New Japan here in the United States of America. Excuse me. So that's that. But it's Jericho. You can't rule out. Jericho has so much weight, as I said, behind his name, and to see Kenny get the title that he holds so prestigious taken away from him by this man who came out of nowhere and attacked him and challenged him and beat him up mercilessly multiple times to the point where the match is now a no disqualification due to the rules by the New Japan personnel. This match has so much importance. I'm gonna go with Kenny, but I wouldn't be surprised if Jericho wins. It is Alpha versus Omega, Kenny versus Chris, Bullet Club versus Alpha Club. It is groundbreaking, and it is a great time to be a wrestler. 2018, here we are, here we come, let's do it. And then we have the real main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. We have Tetsuya Naito, the leader of Los Ingobernables de Japón, versus the current IWGP Heavyweight Champion and the longest reigning IWGP Heavyweight Championship holder, Kazuchika Okada. Oh boy. So this match to me is very important because it sets the tone actually for the Japanese industry as a whole. So I'll start with Naito because he's a challenger, and as you should always start with the challenger. Naito originally was the Starship Genius, I believe was his nickname. He was a young lion, was supposed to be one of the new up-and-comers, was supposed to be one of the next big things for New Japan. and they gave him he was called the Stardust Genius, and he was supposed to be one of the like biggest top tier stars for New Japan, and he actually won the G1 Climax around 2013 to challenge Okada for the IWGP World Heavyweight title in 2014 at the Wrestle Kingdom of that time. But Naito was pushed so heavily at that time that people really didn't take him serious. He was so heavily pushed as this next coming thing. They were trying to push him way harder than what they were supposed to, that the crowd turned on him. At one point, I learned all this from a person called Showbuckle on YouTube. I will put a link to his channel because the guy is outstanding. He is one of the best YouTubers that has really helped me gain more knowledge and feel for stuff going on in Japan, and has kept me up to date. And even when I'm now up to date, he's also just hitting me with more knowledge all the time. Definitely subscribe to the Showbuckle. I'm not working for him. We are no way in correlation. I just think he's that darn good. But this isn't about Showbuckle. This is about Tetsuya Naito and Kazuchika Okada. But right now in specific, Kazuchika Okada. So Okada, sorry, not Okada, Naito. Naito was a part, went to go have his match against Okada in 2014, but due to the negativity from the fans, New Japan, for the first time ever, held a vote for what the final match of Wrestle Kingdom should be. Normally, if you win the G1, you are automatically given the final match on the card. But the fans chose for the Intercontinental title, which was held by Shinsuke Nakamura, and be having a match against Hiroshi Tanahashi to have as the final match. And thus, Naito and Okada were put into the semi-finals, main event of the show. It was the match before the main event. Thus, technically making Naito's match so mundane. When the match happened, the fans were okay with it, but really, no one really thought at 1 second that Naito was really going to win, I believe. By my standards, I thought. I might be tainted because now I live in the age where he is, where I know all of this happening, but at my assumption, I didn't think anyone in the crowd really thought he was going to win. And Naito took it personally. He took it very, very to heart that the fans don't like him. So why the heck should he like the fans? Why the heck should he be pandering to them? Why the heck is he their Stardust genius? And he just went on to kind of just meander around a bit in 2014, and then he left to go to CMLL, where he ended up teaming with Los Ingobernables over there in Mexico with La Sombra, or as people may know him now as Andrade Cien Almas of WWE, and Rush of CMLL. And they made Naito from this kind of, originally he was a very kind of positive, really kind of not happy-go-lucky, but he was a good guy. He was a face, into this snarky, very does not care for anybody else heel. And that was in 2014 when he went to an excursion in CMLL. He came back to New Japan and was a very cocky, very laid-back, did not care for anybody character. He didn't care for the fans, his other fellow competitors, even the match. When he came back, actually, he was in a match with, I want to say, Hanma, and during the match, he just kind of left midway. Like, Hanma, I think, won, and at one point, Naito just walked away. He really just didn't care, and he didn't want to be a part of anything, because he just knew, why am I going to respect these people who welcome me back now? But originally, they didn't give a crap about me. They actually crapped all over me. So Naito made his own stable of Los Ingobernables, its branch-off stable, Los Ingobernables de Japón. He welcomed its members, Evil, Bushi, Sanada, and Hanomu, and built up more infamy and fame. Eventually, he actually got a hold of the Intercontinental title that took away that spot for him as the main event of the show that he was supposed to main event, and he destroys it. He carries it and holds on to it because it's a memory, and it's a sign that I'm good enough and I'm that darn great that I have this belt. But I don't care about this belt. I don't even like this belt. This belt is an insult to me. Hell, the company has too many belts in the first place. And every chance that Naito got, he smashed it, wrecked it. Had a hammer at one point and smashed it right on the screen. Hit it against the ring steps at one point. Threw it in the air, spit on it, stepped on it. Anything you could think that Naito he probably wiped his butt with it sometimes. Anything you could think that Naito could think of to that belt, he probably did it. Naito saw that belt as a scar of who he was, and is great character work. So Naito eventually did lose the belt to Hiroshi Tanahashi, and he just kind of was setting up his lining up his shot to go to where he wanted to go, and he won last year 2017's G1 Climax in a great match against Kenny Omega in the finals. And now he has his retribution. Now he gets his rematch at the main event of Wrestle Kingdom 12, the biggest Wrestle Kingdom ever. And this is his shot. This is Wrestle Kingdom all those years ago redone, but in the correct way, where now Naito has all the fan support. Naito is the star that he was supposed to be all those years ago. Naito is one of the best. Again, in the ring, he mixes in a very Japanese style, mixes it very well with a Mexican style, Mexico style of lucha libre. Very fast paced, lots of neck breakers. He has a very good finisher called the Destino, but to the Destino is chokehold from our current champion, Kazuchika Okada. Okada is at the young, ripe age of 28 years old in New Japan. He is the longest ever, over anybody in the company, IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Having the belt now at a whopping, I want to say 516 days or something. Let me look that up right now while I have you guys. He is longest reigning champion at 563 days as of this moment. And Okada is the Rainmaker. If you don't know about him, originally he was a young lion. He went to TNA where he was a terrible gimmick, and he eventually went back to Japan and became the Rainmaker. Think of the $1 Million Man, but with the main event push that he should have gotten. Like, I'm talking like with the belt. Okada has dollars that have his name on it and face on it. He has he looks like a walking championship, and he has this finisher that he brought along with him called the Rainmaker. I looked at my arm because it's a lariat. Have you ever actually gotten clothesline before? It hurts. Have you ever been clothesline before where you were clotheslined so many times that you can't even breathe or stand up, and where they turn you around, thus discombobulating your positioning, and then he hits the crap out of you in the face/neck area? That is what the Rainmaker is. It is a very devastating hit that Okada has used and utilized multiple times to his advantage. Okada is, for a reason, the IWGP champion, heavyweight champion. He is, for a reason, the longest reigning champion. He is, for a reason, last year's Wrestler of the Year, because he's that darn good at the young age of 28 years old. The world is his oyster. The the universe is at his hands. Okada is one of the best, if not the best. Once again, excuse me. So, we now have, and Okada and Naito are complete polar opposites, where Okada, at the beginning, he was very actually disrespectful, but now he's a lot more refined, he is dignified, he is basically New Japan as a whole. And then to his polar opposite is Naito, a very disrespectful, very kind of uncaring, mean-ish guy. And it's the perfect combination of hot and cold, the darkness and light. There's no one that's good or evil in this instance. I would be scarce to say that Naito is the heel because he does have a lot more heel tendencies, but Okada also doesn't really do anything good. He's just the Rainmaker. He is Okada. There's nothing else that he is or that he can be. He is just that guy. He that man. He that boy. That Okada. So, as I said, this is basically everything that should have happened years ago redone correctly and at its height right now. And I believe this is the time for Tetsuya Naito to win that belt. I think this is the time where Naito becomes the IWGP champion. He did win it once from Okada years ago, I believe in 2016. It was just, he won the the New Japan World Cup, thus giving him a shot during the summer at the title. He beat Okada due to a lot of interference. Like, I'm talking all the members of LIJ got involved, and eventually Naito kept him down, but like he lost it 2 months later. I think this is the proper crowning jewel, proper moment for Naito to win the belt. And with Naito having the belt, it opens endless possibilities. Minoru Suzuki can come back, Hiroshi Tanahashi. There's Ishii floating around, who him and Naito have a very deep, rich history. Naito has plenty of opponents with him having the belt in a new direction and a new path for Japan and New Japan as a whole. I think this is the match everyone should be watching out for, and this is the match that I am so pumped to see. This is going to be awesome. Or Okada could win, and he could still rectify that. I'm that boy, Okada. I'm that boy. Come at me. I got a lariat waiting for you, and I call it Rainmaker. This match could go either way, because in the one point where Naito could, and technically by my standards, basically should, Okada is that boy. You can't oppose that. You can't look past the gravitas, the capabilities, the importance that Okada is. So we will see tonight in Japan at Wrestle Kingdom. It's been a bit long. It's almost an hour and a half show because I've also had to explain a lot of stuff. Hopefully I did well enough. I really wish I didn't go as far as I did, because I don't know if anyone's actually going to sit and listen to all this and watch it. I hope if you have listened to all of this and watched, I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I hope it's a good time and it passed over your time. And I hope I gave you a good explanation to the characters and the storylines and all that's going on in New Japan. After the Wrestle Kingdom, they have their basically reboot. They have their New Year's Dash match the next day on January 5th. It basically gives up a complete answer to all of the stories, as well as it gives you new stories that will be happening through the rest of the year. I've never watched it before, but usually something kind of important always happens on it, so I'm very much anticipating that. Anywho, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you really like this video, subscribe to my channel by just using that thumb and just gliding it from what you used to give a thumbs up to give it a subscribe. And then take that thumb and just grab a bell, ring a ding ding, press your button on that bell button as well. And then you can be alerted to any videos that I put up. As I said, this is Wrestle Train Express. Choo Choo, or Wrestle Junkie for the time being. I am your host, Micah Kool-Aid. If you have any suggestions, questions, answers, or anything, just feel free to leave a comment down below. Once again, you can follow me on Twitter at Micah Kool-Aid. I'll talk to you guys later. I don't have a catchphrase, so I'm just going to make one up. It's catchphrase.